A very good morning to everyone. I, Anuradha, am here today with my co-host, Ms. Chumki Sarkar, and we are very excited to bring you another insightful Power Hour, a platform featuring esteemed guests from diverse fields who share their passions and personal journeys. We are incredibly privileged to introduce our first guest, the remarkable Ms. Alok Das. She is an educator, author, and curriculum specialist with international experience spanning the US and India. She has led teacher training and content development at various reputed organizations. A passionate poet and storyteller, her poems, especially those about women and Bangalore, have been featured in several anthologies. She is the author of Will the Center Hold and Echoes of Ages and has contributed over 200 original stories and poems to early learning curricula. Her global perspective, shaped by teaching ESL in US universities and designing content for diverse learners in India, fuels her impactful work in language acquisition, academic writing, and educator development. An especially delightful facet of her personality is her creativity beyond the classroom. She recycles old clothes and textiles into beautiful wearable pieces, blending sustainability with artistry in everyday life. A warm welcome to you, Ms. Alok Das.
Thank you. I am so honored that you've introduced me in such a fabulous manner. Thank you so much. I'm really, really happy to be here with with you all in DPS for this program for DPS because DPS is a very, very special. DPS East is very, very special to me, if I may say that. Both my children are alumni of DPS East. So for me, I mean, the journey with DPS has been very beautiful. I've seen my children grow here. You guys have helped them grow. So thank you. I'm indeed honored to be here.
Good morning, everyone. Our next guest is Miss Hima Binduti, a seasoned learning development manager with over 2 decades of experience and leadership skills that directly drove organizational visions and goals. She has set up and built the learning function at SAP India to cater to the learning needs of the consultants across 5 global locations covering approximately 2,000 employees globally. Also groomed and built a robust, high performing team to ensure an exemplary learning function at SAP Global Delivery and SDC. In 2017, she quit high profile corporate job and turned her hobby into profession by striking a balance between commercial demands and creative freedom. She has been an emissary in recycling, reusing coffee waste, and plastic blending coffee paintings in the Indian art forms. She has also won numerous awards for her contribution to art and culture, as well as women empowerment. She has exhibited her artwork worldwide. A very, very warm welcome to you, Miss Hima.
Thank you so much. You can see me wearing my passion. So I call coffee a liquid hug in a mug. And I believe in the mantra nothing is useless, it's just use me less. And change your perspectives, and your waste can become gold. So I'm excited to be a part of this journey and share my 2 cents to saving the mother nature and contributing to the field of sustainability and increasing the awareness of Indian art forms along with Indian coffee. So this is me, Hima Bindu.
I think that's such a wonderful thing to say today, on a Saturday morning. And on that positive note, my first question would be to Alokparna ma'am. Ma'am, some people, grow up always knowing they want to write, and some of us discover it unexpectedly. Did you always know that you wanted to be a poet, Or was there a particular moment or experience that made you decide that this is what I want to do? What was that, turning point like for you?
So I have been writing right from childhood. I think, as far as I can remember, I've always written poems starting very early on. And of course, that was a part of me. I mean, that was a part of my expression. To take up poetry as a profession, I knew that would not really work. So I took up something else that I loved, which was teaching language, teaching the use of language, teaching linguistics and then English. But poetry has always remained, and I have written, many. So at one point, I realized when I would read out my poems to my friends that they loved it, and I thought maybe this was a good way to reach out to a wider set of people, and hence, a few years ago, I started publishing.
Right. And I think that's, such a powerful thing to hear. And it's very inspiring to learn that becoming a poet or anything, isn't always a straight line. And sometimes, it begins with a quiet feeling, a very small spark or a voice inside that says that, it matters. So I think that's a wonderful response that I think we should be, taking it away from our session. My next question is to Miss Hema. Beyond the beauty of traditional art forms, what drew you to coffee painting and inspired you to pursue it? And why coffee painting?
Good question. Always ask this question. And then if you read everywhere, the answer remains the same. Why not coffee? Okay. And India is a country which is known for its vibrant art forms across its 36 regions. And the Indian art forms, they were using natural pigments made of plants, leaves, flowers, fruits. The dyes or the pigments were made from that. And then taking inspiration from there, I said, why not coffee? And art crafts were a part of my growing up curriculums, whether it's school or college. And then when I needed a vent during my stressful corporate journey, so my calling was art. So I came back to art. Then I started with the typical oil paintings, the Van Goghs and things like that. It impacted my health, breathing because of the heavy chemicals in them. Then did it mean I stopped painting? I said, no, let me find ways. And then somebody accidentally introduced me to coffee painting. My first coffee painting was an Egyptian queen, Cleopatra. And then from there, no looking back, it is 2,500 pieces, a little over 15 years of painting with coffee, and my journey is brewing. And you can see I have moved, and it's so that's
That
what
is
inspires me.
fantastic, absolutely. And as we are speaking about coffee right now, I think the rich aroma of coffee as one paints, I think it evokes a sense of, comfort, warmth, and nostalgia, right?
Very therapeutic.
Yeah. Over to Anuradha, ma'am.
Alokparna ma'am, one of the things I really love about your poetry is how you explore big themes like identity, women's roles, or even a changing city without making them feel very heavy. There's a lightness, even humor in your work. So, does that come naturally, or is it a conscious choice while you are writing?
So I generally tend to I gravitate towards humor more. However, there are instances where the topics were such that they were very heavy, especially on women's topics. I've written something after the Nirbhaya case. I've written something after the RG Kaur Kolkata thing, and those I mean, there's irony in them, but they can't be considered light. However, in most other things, I do like keeping things light. I don't believe that things should be heavy. And if you don't mind, can I read out one very short poem on women, which will just demonstrate this? It will not take very long.
I would love to hear that.
Okay, it's It's a very short poem on women. What makes a woman? Clothes do not a woman make, nor kin, kith, spouse, nor child. To be a woman, what does it take? Must we have it well defined? Neither innocence nor tenderness, not suffering, tears nor rage, not felinity nor femininity, not youth, menopause nor age, not motherhood, not otherhood, not passion, love, or sex. A woman is much more than these, and sometimes much, much less. A harpy, a vixen, a darling. She's called a doll or even a nag. Why is it we always seek to affix ourselves a tag? Names do not a woman make, and traditions merely bind. So shall we let it be and let her be, undefined and unconfined?
That was a beautiful poem, ma'am, and I'm sure that it will have touched as many hearts, the way it has touched mine. And it is so interesting how, poetry can carry both meaning and lightness at the same time.
Yes, that's what I like about poetry. We can say a lot in a very concise way, and we can, it's up to us whether we want to make it lighthearted or more serious. So I think that's the power of poetry.
Very true, ma'am. My next question would be for Miss Hema. Hema, ma'am, you had worked in SAP Labs for a considerable period of time before switching to pursue your passion for art. So, transitioning from IT to art could not have been easy. So, what is your advice for young people who are considering a career in art over the lucrative tech industry?
Okay. Art is expensive. Please take it. But with a young nation like India, which is growing into many different paths, we also have fine artists coming out, and there are also fine universities which are specifying in fine arts. So my journey took, after working for 25 years, it became from a hobby to a passion to a profession. So within this 25 years, I did build some kitty and then was able to transit. But this transition was forced. It was not like I really wanted to do. Health took a toll on my thing. So the high tech job made me go to lots of places, international places where people go on vacations. I used to go for work. Traveled to mostly all the continents except Australia and Antarctica, one city in these continents, 46 unique countries. But then at what cost? Did it give me peace of mind? Did it say that I made an impact? Yes, it did. I did make an impact as an employee of SAP, a German organization. But did it make an impact to me as Himabindu or to my family as Himabindu's family? And then when there was an alarming call of health, then it was a call saying that come back. Well, when I switched, people call me lots of names, including a tag of loser. So it was like going back to the starting your drawing board and say, from where do you start? And 2015, while I was still working, was my first public appearance with my coffee painting. And 2025, where we had the India International Festival in April, and Women in Coffee Alliance was in March. And if you see the journey, and if you see in these 10 years, I'm the only coffee painting artist you will see in all these coffee events, especially in India. And in 2023, we had the first international or the World Coffee Conference in Asia, in India, in Bangalore, in Karnataka. And I feel blessed that I was the only coffee painting artist there. So there must be something which which is good about the sustainable art. Now the switchover, yes, there's a time and place. And I would always say is have a kitty. It's not easy, it's expensive. So now maybe the young ones can look at getting your angel financing or incubation, or there is this concept called Shark Tank. Maybe you can get lots of finances to support your ideas and to, foster this new brand of coffee painting or painting with sustainable things. So my advice to the young ones is first is get your basic education and your basic things in place, and then get on to your hobby, which can you make it into a profession or a passion. If you are looking to make art as your profession, then I would say get on to get good education in this field, and importantly, convince people with your ideas so that they fund you.
Okay. So I can see, ma'am, that the transition for you must have been a dramatic leap, but it has also been a very interesting and enriching one. Over to you, Chumki, now.
Uh, Aloparna ma'am, my next question is directed to you. Could you tell us about one of your favorite works and what makes it special to you? And has it influenced your thinking or writing in any way?
It's very difficult to name one favorite work because I have so many. I was a voracious reader, and my favorite author, Vikram Seth, Salman Rushdie, Thomas Hardy, but Virginia Woolf, Dorothy Parker, I don't know, Robert Frost, all of them have influenced me, inspired me. I've seen storytelling in one, use of language in the other, how to convey an emotion in one writer, how to convey sarcasm in another writer. So I mean, for young people, I think it is very important to have a huge range of reading. Nowadays, or even when we were young, we only tended to read one kind of fiction or one thing. But as you grow, I think for school children, for young people, try to read anything and everything that comes your way. I have read books by Dr. Siddharth Mukherjee, who's a doctor, who writes on the human, genes, and he writes poetically. I'm sure he has not limited himself to reading just books on medicine, right? He writes the most beautiful narrative possible. So that's what I would say. I don't have one single piece. I have lots and lots and lots. And I guess,
I'm sure.
yeah.
And it's amazing how, favorite piece stays with you even years later.
Absolutely, absolutely.
My next question is to you, Hima ma'am. If you could share with our young audience how you have embraced the significant challenges to capture the beauty of Indian art form using only coffee.
So if you see the Indian art forms like Tanjore painting, Kerala painting, or Kerala murals, or Madhubani, Kalamkari, Patachitra, if you see them, they're very vibrant color with lots of intricacies. There are lots of embellishments and things like that. They use gold, they use lots of shiny blobs and things like that. So the first challenge was using only browns, how do I get it? So I have in my house at least close to 20 or 30 pieces, which neither I can sell nor I can display. That is my experimentation, practice, practice, and practice. I'm reminded of Thomas Edison saying 999 times I saw how the filament works, and whatever the next time I realize this also glows. So it's something like that. And I keep those pieces with me to remind me that, don't give up. Keep working on it, keep working, keep experimenting, read about it, understand the basis behind why these paintings are done this way, or why is it particularly they use these colors, and how can you get that essence there. To just show you one painting of mine.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, this is, I don't know how much you can see this,
Wow.
this piece. Okay.
Amazing,
So
amazing.
this is
This is so
an
beautiful.
Madhubani piece, okay, which has coffee beans. And to give it an aesthetic appeal, I have put some colors onto it. But then, once I started getting awards of using this eco-friendliness, I had to stop using colors. So my next thing was to mix. So there was a nice movie which for some reason, it inspires me. The movie is called Legally Blonde. So over there, Elle says, don't fight the fabric, change the fabric. Over here, I don't have an option to change the fabric, or I don't have an option to change the coffee. So I mix it. So I mix it with different mediums like your oils. So that way, what happens, I still keep it eco-friendly. I use the blobs, I use the beans. And that way, I try to get the essence, maybe at least 80% of these Indian art forms. while the Indian Art of Culture, the Chamber has recognized 52 art forms pan India, I was able to render only 36 of them. I'm still experimenting with Pahad, Kalighat, and the other kind of paintings. But yeah, as I say, my journey is still brewing, one step at a time.
Very much so. And from this inherent chromatic richness to the monochromatic brown hues of coffee is perhaps the initial hurdle. But like you said, that your journey is still ongoing. I'm sure we also will get to see what's there in store. Over to you,
Yes.
Anuradha.
Ms. Aluparna, a lot of students in the audience today love reading stories or poems. They may enjoy daydreaming or even imagining things, but when it comes to writing their own work, they don't always know where to begin. So, what is a simple habit or practice that you would advise aspiring writers to adopt?
So, writing is a skill, and I think it's a wonderful skill to have, whether you are a published writer or not. I would say never underestimate the power of a well written, whatever it is, note, email, message, letter, right? Uh, so, writing is something that a lot of children love to write poems. Doesn't matter, but they're embarrassed about it. They don't want to show it. Keep on writing. You do not have to show it to anybody immediately, right? You just keep on writing, maybe one verse a day, few lines a day, at least a few lines a week, a few verses a week. That's for people who like writing poetry. But what about the others? I think everybody should pick up one form of writing, whether it's journal writing, whether it's diary writing, and do that regularly every day. And that's for you to see. After say a month, you will notice how you changing your style. And of course, the other very important thing, or rather the foundation of writing, is reading. So please read. I know information today is available in various forms. You have it in videos, you have it in audio forms, you have it in music. All of that is wonderful. But the way when you read, it's an abstract. When you read, so the letters that you read, the sounds that you imagine in your head when you're reading that letter, that makes your brain work in a different way, and your brain is developing in it's you using your brain to abstract a lot of things. So please continue to read, continue to write. It may seem hard at times, but write something fun. Do fun things I did today. Maybe Fridays are that's what you do. Two fun things I did on Friday. Two sad things I did on Monday. Two new things I learned on Tuesday. And that'll give you a goal. And continue to write like that. And when you're ready, start showing it to your English teachers, to your Hindi teachers, because I think teachers really have a big role in encouraging students, and they would also love to tell you how you have improved and how you can make it much better. So it's all
Those are
up to you.
such useful ideas. I think it will help all our aspiring writers immensely. And I think one message takeaway is what matters is not giving up. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
my next query is for Ms. Hema. Ms. Hema, you are a champion of sustainability. Can you tell us in what ways your artistic expression not only raises awareness but also inspires changes in behavior towards sustainability? How do you see the future of coffee art?
Okay. The first time when I did, I wasn't what do you call conscious about anything to do with sustainability, recycling, or DIY, or any such thing, upcycling or repurposing. I just wanted to paint with coffee just to be unique and different. So I was wasting lots of coffee. And once I started getting recognition and then understood how coffee works and the richness of the Indian art forms, I said, can I do something to give back to Mother Nature? So that's when I started working one step at a time. like as Alok Parna said, one stroke at a time, one experiment at a time. And the essence is not giving up. There were many times I said, why am I doing this? When I gifted people such things, they would say, oh my God, this woman has no colors in her life. Yes, but then in 2015, I still remember it is September 15th or 16th. I woke up to a Pan India paper in Times of India. I mean, the coin saying a coffee painting artist whose coffee paintings look like wooden carvings. I said, what? And then no looking back. Every year, Coffee Board does two exhibitions. I exhibit only with them. And then the media and the Coffee Board and the people who write in my visitors book challenge me and say, Hima, what is new this time? And in 2009, when I was doing a coffee painting, if you would Google, you would get very few things. There were only Egyptian paintings, and there was something like watercolors. The decoction, the liquor, the coffee liquor was used, the decoction was used to paint your coffee paintings. But now you go and Google about coffee paintings, you see a range. Okay. Now it has become very important for me to go into the eco-friendly or the sustainable way. So if you see, these are the coffee beans which are thrown because they lost their aroma, or after being roasted, they don't get the same taste. So I collect them. Okay. And this is a nice bracelet made out of them. I'm sure if I make it a little more friendly, I'm sure maybe the young ones would like to try. It's a very quirky way of doing this. Look at this bean here. Okay, so there is
Beautiful.
no end to your creativity. Now this is done on at the end of the year. You throw your notebooks. The notebooks are hard covers. I cut the notebook, painted on it, and got it glazed like this. So there is no end to sustainability. There is no end to creativity. Now, if somebody is willing to pay 20 or 30K for one of my piece, there must be something about it, right? And when you talk a future about coffee, there are already institutes like Chitrakala Parishad, Reva University, which are working and they're doing a lots of research on getting back natural pigments as a medium to paint instead of going to the chemical ways like your acrylic paints or the other paints. They're working. There's lots of research going on to get the natural ways back. And what else is a natural way but the coffee dye or the coffee pigment? Let's be unique. Let's be different.
So true, ma'am. I'm sure our viewers would have immediately grasped the concept of upcycling,
Yes.
taking something that is destined for the landfill and transforming it into something beautiful and meaningful. Uh, yeah. Thank you to both of our guests today for sharing their knowledge with our students. And now we move on to the next segment of the show. Some of our students are keen on conducting a rapid fire round for both of our guests. So over to you, Dia and Geetika.
Good morning, everyone. We will now be entering a fun-filled rapid-fire round. Brace yourselves for these questions. Alokparna ma'am, are you ready? We'll be
Yes,
starting with you. All right. For the first question, what genre of literature do you enjoy reading the most?
poetry, non-fiction.
Thank you. That was a very interesting genre, I'm sure. Moving on to the next question. You have been known to enjoy recycling, and that is your passion. Which recycled product of yours is your most favorite?
You're
Uh,
asking me or Alok Parna?
Alokparna ma'am.
Okay, okay.
so yeah, I like repurposing old garments, and the dress that I'm wearing today is a very old kurta that I turned into a dress. So so I keep on doing that. I wear all these very weird, quirky clothes, which I have turned from something else. So,
Ma'am, it looks very beautiful, and that's a very creative use of your own clothes. Now, regarding the next question, if you could have dinner with any famous poet or author, who would it be?
oh my God. So live, maybe we crusade Salman Rushdie, dead ones. I don't know if they could come back. Robert Frost, Dorothy Parker. I really don't know. Siddharth Mukherjee, he's a writer.
Those will all be unforgettable experiences,
I'm
I'm
sure.
sure. Yeah. Turning to the next question, Name your favorite character from any literary work.
Ah, so Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. I really like
She's a very unforgettable icon in literature.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. Coming up next, do you remember any interesting incident you encountered while your career as a teacher, while you were teaching?
Oh, yes, certainly. So, teaching, when the teacher goes to the board, everybody assumes she knows everything. So this was my first year of teaching, I think second or third day, and I was teaching at George Mason University. I was teaching ESL, and my class was full of grown ups. And these were all masters or students who were trying to also learn English from all over the world. So some of them were architects, some of them were really, really learned people. And there I was on the board, and we were doing pronouns, and I had written HERS on the board, and I just didn't know what it was. I just looked at it and I said, "What kind of a word is this?" I was completely lost at that point. I couldn't identify that word. There was such a blankness. Then I breathed, I looked back, I turned around. I think that was one of the most funny experiences I've ever had, that I couldn't identify simple word.
Yeah, it's unforgettable. Like it's something you'll definitely remember for a
Yes.
really long time.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, this is the final question for you, ma'am. If you had to describe yourself in any one word, what would it be?
Unpredictable.
It's definitely an apt word for you.
Thank
Thank you for being such a good sport. Now over to Geetika.
you.
Thank you, Dia. So we'll be starting with our questions. Hima ma'am, I hope you're ready.
I am.
Yeah, okay, let's get right into it. So for our first question, of all your coffee artworks, which one is your most favorite?
Like Alok ma'am said, a creator, there is no favorites. But still, if you want me to say, there are two of them. One is called Rasa Leela, which is a Krishna and Radha together. My dad's name is Balakrishna and my mother's name is Leela, and I named it Rasa Leela. So that's one of my favorite. And the other one is a Durga Ma, which is sitting in Maine, US, in a company called Coffee by Design. And the first thing they saw at one of my exhibitions, and they said, we need it. So those two are my, to date, one of my favorites. And I'm not sure I can replicate them anymore.
Well, those are some very curious choices, ma'am. Moving on, what is the funniest comment you've heard regarding your coffee art?
Okay, so the first time in 2015, they said, if I can say it in Kannada, I'll say, Henry, coffee allide coffee da, nale tea idalde you'll tea martira, chocolate allide chocolate martira. So they were trying to ridicule me, saying, today it's a coffee exhibition, so you're doing coffee. So tomorrow when it's a tea, you'll do it in tea. And if there's other thing which is in chocolate, you'll do it in chocolate. So that time my Kannada wasn't that good. I would say, how do? My only question, my only answer was, how do? And then that how do was like, which was very, the way I said it in a very anglicized way or something, very, the accent was too much. I was like, how do? And then it's like a how do icon. So that was very funny, and it was captured very well by the press.
I can see why you'd consider that one the funniest memory. So, moving on. Name a celebrity that you'd love to make a coffee portrait of.
Mm. Okay. Maybe it sounds like a cliche and a touche, but in my view, my mom is a celebrity, so I would like to paint her, which is one, because she was my first guru who taught me to paint. She herself was a teacher and a professor, a lecturer later. And the other person who would really I like to paint is Tom Cruise, not for his charmness or for his handsomeness, but for he pushing himself at his age and still being an action star and defying age. He's saying age is not a limit, and he's more agile than any of the young artists and all. Still, sustaining his charm and elegance.
Both of those are amazing choices, and seeing your mom as a celebrity is just so sweet. Okay, Moving on. If you could travel to any country, any, just for its art and coffee culture, where would you go?
Right now, I think I'm in the place where I'm in right now is India. I want to be here. After traveling quite a bit for 25 years, I would like to be here and explore the nook and corner of India to understand its rich tapestry of art and culture, because every 200 or 300 kilometers we have a different dialect, a different art forms where we celebrate. If you see Varli, it's a local tribal art. If you see, Madhubani has both higher strata and lower strata. Madhubani higher strata does gods paintings, the lower strata does the everyday walk of life. So both are very elegant and very mesmerizing. Well, if you want me to travel again, I would like to travel to Brazil,
Ah, Brazil. I can understand
the
why you'd want to
Amazon
travel.
forests.
Yeah. And certainly India's culture is so diverse. For our fourth question, for our fifth question, you previously worked in the corporate industry before you switched to your current profession, right? What was one thing that you disliked the most about the corporate life?
Stress, and you work for a brand of that company. Okay, you perform well. They say it's expected of you. You don't perform well, they say, see, we are overpaying you, or it says that you're on the. There's always an axe on your head saying you have to leave. They could lay you off. What got me frustrated was, in spite of creating so many curriculums, in spite of being very creative and making the employees learn. Remember, employees needn't learn. Students have to learn. Employees are already, they have a job. But then if they don't learn on the job, they don't go to the next project.
Right.
They might get here, but then they become old. I mean, the technology becomes old. It's like you don't upgrade yourself. I can't say I still want to work with that machine, because that machine will not work. So we are moving to a smarter phones. If you want to say, I love this phone, I want to be only with this, then it becomes a relic. So that was the challenge. In spite of all these challenges and all, the recognition is like, you say, huh, she did that and all. But when they have to lay you off, while I was not laid off, but I was in the panel of laying off people. And then we find one simple, silly reason to just lay off people, because it's just a corporate decision saying we don't want people, we don't want headcounts. So it's like a sheep, you're adding and you're deleting. There is no emotion there. And when you look at an artist, there's lots of emotional out. You need an emotional vent. You need your expressing, not impressing, you're expressing. So, this expressions wasn't there. And then right now, if you say, I feel I'm working for a brand called me, whether it's good or bad, it's me.
Well, seeing how much you enjoy what you do now, switching was certainly a great choice. For our final question, you have a lot of interesting names for all of your artworks. Could you name a few that you consider the favorite or that you love the most?
Mocha Cuddle. I said Rasalila. Rasalila was one. Mocha Cuddle. Mocha is one of your coffee flavors. And there are two teddy bears which I made. So I said it's a Mocha Cuddle. Then there is More Latte. More is your peacock. And latte is like I'm saying more latte is to make one. And I said Miss Tiramisu. So like tiramisu is your cake which there. So I said Miss Tiramisu, it's a lady with different thing. Then I called Irish Delight. Irish delight is with the colors, the light color, the dark color, and things like that. So that is Irish delight. So yeah, affogato was one which I named. Then yeah,
Well, those are certainly some interesting names. Well, that was my final question for you. Thank
thank you,
you to both our guests and to everyone for joining us in this rapid fire question and answer session.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, students, for your interesting questions. And as our show concludes, thanks to our esteemed guests for enlightening us today and for your time and patience. We would also like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the management, Principal Dr. Manila Carvalho, and Vice Principal Ms. Preeti Suta, ma'am, for providing us with a platform. We would like to thank the organizing committee, head of the Department of English, Ms. Sonali Roy, and Ms. Sioni Dikshit from the English department for their motivation and guidance. This program would not have been a success without the support of the computer science department and with HOD Ms. Vikranti Ashtikar, Ms. Shanti Sridhar, and Ms. Pallavi Shivastav from the computer department for their technical support. And lastly, but not the least, thanks to all our viewers. You have been a wonderful audience.